This MMA 30 segment is powered by bodybuilding.com, the #1 sports nutrition e-tailer. Get the latest products from Muscle Farm at bodybuilding.com. UFC fighter Joseph Benavidez is joining us here on the MMA 30 Radio Hour. He's got a big fight coming up at UFC 128 next weekend out in Newark, New Jersey. Joseph, thank you so much for calling into the MMA 30 Radio Hour today, man.
Thank you guys for having me on.
So kind of a big day. Strikeforce has been purchased by the UFC, and I'm really curious to get what your take is on this big purchase, considering that you were in the WEC. The UFC obviously came along and purchased the WEC. This is going to be your first fight at UFC 128 as a UFC fighter, so you're kind of a couple of steps ahead of probably where the likes of all the Strikeforce fighters that are interesting to the UFC are going to be in several months from now. What was your initial reaction, Joseph Benavidez, when you heard that the UFC had purchased Strikeforce?
I actually saw it on Twitter as I woke up, and I was just like, wow, kind of unbelievable. You know, just shows how powerful UFC is and, you know, how great of a businessman they are. And I think it's a great step, you know, just they're taking MMA to where they think it should be, which is obviously the right place, as they've shown so far. And I think also to where all the fans want it to be. Yeah, so, I think it's a great move. I don't know how much it's going to affect me individually, but I know there's some great fighters in Strikeforce. And like I said, it's a good step to where the fans want it to be, seeing the matchups and everything.
If you could pick one guy that's on the Strikeforce roster right now that you're most excited to see as a Zuffa employee and potentially over in the UFC, who would it be?
I'd go with Gilbert Melendez. Big fan of him, his fight style and everything. And I think there's just, and in his weight class, there's great matchups, you know, obviously to determine like the #1 guy and everything. So Gilbert Melendez for sure. And then Diaz is right there, close second.
John Morgan, who's in studio with us from MMAJunkie.com, mentioned that it creates an interesting position for fighters because you can't straddle the fence when it comes to negotiation as much. Of course, Bellator is still a strong organization that's on their way up, but Strikeforce seemed like they were in that second-tier spot after the WEC got pulled into the UFC ranks. So as a fighter, does this put you and other guys in interesting positions when it comes to around time to renegotiate contracts? Do you have less options now? Do you think you're going to have less of a leg to stand on? Or did you feel like you could even really use those bargaining chips in the first place?
I mean, I don't really worry about that too much. You know, I mean, I'm going, you know, with my career how it is right now, taking it fight by fight. And, you know, in my mind, I'm going to be with Zuffa, you know, fighting the top level for the rest of my career. So, you know, I haven't really looked that far.
UFC 128 is where you're making your UFC debut. You're taking on Ian Loveland. How excited are you as somebody that was a legitimate star of the WEC, headlining cards for the WEC, now moving into the UFC ranks?
Oh, man, I'm super excited to fight for the UFC. Like I said earlier, it's just, I mean, just the promotion, just fighting for the UFC as a whole is going to be great. You know, I get to showcase my hard work, talents, even bigger fan base. So, you know, that's exciting. As far as, you know, everything else, like people ask me a lot, you know, about like butterflies. Am I nervous? I've been fighting at the highest level, you know, that there was thus far for the bantamweights. You know, I fought for the title, fought world champion. So other than that, you know, just it just brings exciting and motivation more than anything.
Now, Joseph, I know some of us were a little bit shocked to see that you're on the unaired prelims. I mean, we got Ion, Spike TV, Facebook. You think they can put you on like Friendster or LinkedIn or something like that? What's up with that?
Yeah, something like like on your phone or I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting at least a little some kind of stream, but you know, I just like to think that they're taking a gamble on me to finish early, and they kind of know that's going to happen, and know I'm going to end up on the pay-per-view anyway. But you know, other than that, I'll be fighting the same. You know, trying to kill the guy in the first round if I was fighting in the garage with 10 people that I don't know watching. So, you know, I'll be fighting the same. It's kind of unfortunate for, you know, my family and fans and stuff that, you know, can't make it to the fight. But, you know, I'm going to go in there and do everything in my power to end it and hopefully get on the pay-per-view anyway. So,
is there added pressure, though, since you are not on the pay-per-view to want to finish fast? I know you said you think you are going to finish fast, but is there more pressure not being on the televised card now that you're in the UFC?
Well, like I said, I'm always trying to finish fast. Like, now the pressure that I feel, honestly, is with Sexyama being out of the card, I mean, I have all the sexiness on my shoulders now.
Oh,
I got to step up my sexiness. I got to hold it down for sexiness on the whole card. You know, when he was there to help me at first, so you know that's going to be kind of tough. But
so do you think that maybe we could change your name to Sexy Videz or something like that just for this card?
Oh no, we'll get onto that. I have a nickname contest going on right now, so there's other options.
What's your nickname contest?
It's just something that I've been actually talking about for a little bit, just amongst like my group, because I never had a nickname, and through the years I've got like 100 nicknames now, and everyone just calls me all sorts of different stuff. So I never really wanted an official nickname because I'm kind of different. I'm like a chameleon in MMA. I'm always fighting different, you know, every day I'm different nonetheless. So I figured just have a contest for nicknames where my fans can choose them, and I pick 5 that I like, and I'm actually doing that right now. Joby Wan Kenobi is actually in the lead.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, Joby Wan Kenobi is in the lead. We got Rocky Balboa is second. The Beefcake, which is one of my personal favorites, is third. Then we got the Whirling Dervish and Reno, the biggest little man in the world. But ever since I started this contest,
yeah. No. Please continue.
Oh yeah, ever since I started this contest, I've had an amazing reception and like interaction with the fans, and I've got some amazing nicknames now so far. And those are only 5 I chose. I already have. I mean, beyond that, like I said, I have hundreds. We got Bon Jovi. We got the Joa Constrictor. All sorts of stuff, but that's more my choke. I call it the Joa Constrictor, and then I have the Manaconda, which Jiu-Jitsu has the Anaconda, and Jiu-Jitsu we have the Manaconda.
I don't want to know anything about that. No.
So Joseph Benavidez,
it's just a joke.
All of those are good nicknames. How do you possibly choose? I think you should be the first guy to choose to change your nickname every single fight card. You know, because Diego Sanchez, I think, was just one of the first guys to publicly change his nickname from the Nightmare to the Dream, and fans had a mixed reaction to that. But if you just said from the get-go, look, I'm going to start adopting nicknames, but it's going to be a new one every card, I think people would have respect for that, Joseph Benavidez.
Yeah. Dave, we're sharing the brain right now. That was already done. That's part of the contest. Is it's changing every single fight.
It is? That's perfect.
Nickname. Yeah. So, it's awesome. There's actually the videos. There's a video on UFC.com as well, kind of saying the history and the rules of the contest and kind of how it's going to go down, and just an explanation of why I decided to do this. So, yeah, my nickname is going to change every fight, and like I said, I made up the 5 for this fight, but the fans have been up with such great nicknames that next fight I'm going to have two nicknames that the fans are going to choose, and 3 that I choose, and then they're gonna vote on it. So yeah, every fight I'm going to change my nickname. Joby Wan Kenobi is looking like the winner for the first one.
That's strong. All right. Final question for you today here on the MMA 30 Radio Hour. Joseph Benavidez is again today our guest. Urijah Faber, one of your best friends in the entire world, is fighting on this card too. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here. If Urijah Faber defeats Eddie Wineland, and especially if he does it in a dramatic fashion, he's going to be coach on the next season of The Ultimate Fighter against Dominick Cruz. They are doing the tryouts for the next season of The Ultimate Fighter, I believe, on Monday in New York City after UFC 128 goes down next Saturday. I think there's a very strong possibility that Urijah Faber will be that coach. Have you guys discussed that at all in your camp? Has that come up? Is that something that you've talked about? And would you be a part of Urijah's team if you guys were all to come to Las Vegas to film the next season of The Ultimate Fighter?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely something we talked about. And, I would definitely be a part of it, and I'd love to be a part of it. It'd be a great honor. It's something, I've been watching before I was even in the sport. So it'd be awesome to be a coach on The Ultimate Fighter, an assistant coach even, especially with Urijah and Cruz. That'd be a great, that'd just be awesome. So I think it's great. I'm just really excited that the weight class is getting featured on The Ultimate Fighter. That's the main thing. I'm really excited about that. There's some great talent out there. And then I think the only way to do that would be with Urijah, the star, really the face of the division, and the WC getting to introduce it to the fans. And, obviously him and Dominick don't like each other, so it'd make for great television.
Joseph Benavidez, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Looking forward to seeing you at UFC 128 next weekend. You're taking on Ian Loveland, and hopefully we'll see that fight on the main pay-per-view card. Thanks again, dude.
Hope so. Thanks a lot, guys.